There's been one or two fishing attempts that I had to give a slight, like, you know, nod to, but usually it's even to the point that even if I'm pretty sure it's legit, you know, everything looks legit, if it has some link to the place I have to go, like, you know, check your account here or something, I always just go to the website and then figure out what I have to do. Internet health, man. Day and age we live in. Day and age that we live in also allows us to communicate to everyone in the world and cast video games of people playing it competitively as a profession. So you take the good with the bad. Like this pause, for instance. It's the bad, we're about to be good again. There we go.
Game resumed.
In the bottom right, it is Mao's Esports HeRoMaRinE. Top left, we have Kaisi Gaming Spirit. And I gotta tell you, Spirit's playing some pretty freaking good StarCraft. He kind of demolished Raynor. Kind of. First game was very well done by Spirit. And Raynor, usually pretty good at recovering even from bad starts, was unable to do so. Spirit has really played a very good game, so it wasn't demolishing. Raynor didn't just roll over and go dead, but it was consistently in Spirit's favor, and he did not let it go. And the second game was a bit of a cheese, sure, but nonetheless was very effective. And so it was a fairly quick 2-0 in Spirit's favor. It's not what you'd expect when you see Raynor on the board. You think Raynor's always going to go to the finals. It's the second time that he hasn't. The last guy who stopped Raynor from getting to the finals was indeed this other guy, HeRoMaRinE. So they're suppressing the Zerg, despite the Zerg Cabal trying their best. So TvT, that's where we haven't seen Spirit tested yet, or HeRoMaRinE actually. You know, we do see a lot of Terran representation in the top 4 of the European Open Cup because of HeRoMaRinE and Clem. Spirit occasionally comes in, but is not all that common, despite being a fairly good player. It just matches up against a lot of the other very good players. So like a Max Pax oftentimes taking him down. I am a human, ESL Gaming. I am human. Stop making me click on tall buildings. Oh my god. I was trying to check who they defeated prior to this. And even, you know, like a Skilless can, I think, defeat a Spirit, surprisingly. Raynor was kind of, you know, he was supposed to defeat Spirit. So yeah, we don't see a whole lot of TvT happening prior to the finals or semifinals. And I wanted to double check if that was actually true, and I believe it has been. They have not played TvT so far. So we're going to see a test for both of them. Now, typically, HeRoMaRinE really considered, you know, pretty much at times the best Terran in Europe. Clem always fighting back, especially when it comes to the regionals, but then HeRoMaRinE having a steadier performance offline, and then there's a lot of things to it. I think most people would say that Clem is the better Terran, but when it comes to TvT, they are constantly flipping back and forth. And then Spirit, you know, is oftentimes not in the discussion because he's not in the finals. Only 2 people can be, not 3 people. That's how that works. So I don't really know where Spirit lines up against either one of them. And obviously, in particular, right now, HeRoMaRinE. He often gets knocked out before he reaches him. Let's see here. So he was knocked out by HeRoMaRinE last week, actually. That's funny. Okay, so there you go. HeRoMaRinE beat Spirit last week, and HeRoMaRinE beat Spirit a month ago, and then HeRoMaRinE beat Spirit 2 months ago, and then Spirit did win one. Overall, heavily favored for HeRoMaRinE. Spirit is 4,100 in games. Yeah, that's a bit different in the last year, I'd say. That is where Spirit's getting some victories in the last 6 months, but it is still HeRoMaRinE favored, so there you go. Stats never lie. They can never be twisted. They can always only reflect the truth, no matter how you present them. Oh, I see HeRoMaRiNE's team name is Mouse. Is Mouse Esports? Isn't it actually Mouse Esports? I don't know. It's German. I always thought it was, you know, harder Z sound. I don't know. Oh, you mean Mouse Sports versus Mouse Esports. I think you're right. I don't know. Who cares? I didn't say that. Don't clip that and stupid say so. I don't know. Mouse Esports. I don't know. You guys tell me. So, surprisingly, not a lot has happened in this TvT. That's unusual. Usually, at least the Reapers try and go across the map. So I was kind of waiting. I was literally listening for the sound of Reapers, bang, 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 and I heard nothing. They both stay at home after their initial scout, anyways. Spirit did not scout. HeRoMaRiNE did. And then move on to, yeah, very typical TvT. 3 Ravens for Spirit, 2 Ravens for HeRoMaRiNE. CC is going down for both of them. Yeah, so... I swear this is not because I'm talking about TvT. I'm yawning, though. Oh, sorry. I guess, apparently describing a totally un-action-y TvT just puts you right to sleep. Am I right, guys? Am I right? No, but I actually am very surprised that this has not done anything. Again, the Reapers usually do something, try and get some scouting, go into the main base, get some SCVs for a backstab. You know, the typical Raven tank push out can happen, and then they're just taking their sweet time. Someone will be the first to push out eventually. But this is a type of setup where it's totally wide open. They could go for an extended 3-base battle, and it's quite action-packed all of a sudden. Or it can absolutely go into, well, we didn't do anything to each other on 3 bases. Why not just bump that up to 4? And then 5. And then we're on starports. Which, oh boy, I feel like is going to happen here. I think I kind of recall watching 1 or 2 of their games last week. I think on someone else's stream. And I think they were super long games too. Ooh, that was cinematic. Little posturing going on. 2 Medivacs actually heading into the main base, where HeRoMaRiNE really has nothing to defend. Neither one of these players went into Vikings, so they're not going to be situated. Scan on the front lines, scouts that HeRoMaRiNE's army, most of it, is there. HeRoMaRiNE sees not much Terran army from his opponent, and should be at least suspicious, but I did not see his vision go to the main until the drop was already done, so that kind of sucks. He's trying to bring up some of the army to deflect this. Their army supplies really aren't that different. It's just a matter of slicing and dicing it correctly and then trying to get past your own Sim City. Big supply block happening as HeRoMaRiNE does go for the break. Great interference matrix. Easy pick up there from Spirit. Gonna tuck himself into the back corner, of which so many of these maps seem to have a large dead space area. What the hell? Oh, 16 SCVs have gone down. Oh no. Oh no. HeRoMaRiNE got broken on the front. Oh my god. HeRoMaRiNE's dead. HeRoMaRiNE got broken on the front. So, see those Ravens without their energy. A bunch of auto turrets, a bunch of interference matrix came down. HeRoMaRiNE thought he had enough to defend, no problem. Apparently not. Oh no. Oh, he loses 2 Ravens! Oh no. Well, Spirit, it's TvT. Maybe it's difficult to kill HeRoMaRiNE in it, but Spirit should absolutely win this game. scanning the natural to see if he can bust it. Maybe seeing if there's any Vikings and Liberators on the way. I'm not sure he could have told that, you know, 3 medevacs or the Marines are gone. He does have a little bit of reinforcements here, but these are even upgrades. Just more Marines for HeRoMaRinE, and SCVs hardly make up for that most of the time. So bam, wabam, instant comeback. Just add water, just add HeRoMaRinE. 23 SCVs go down, 4th base has to be canceled, and the 2 drops also get away for HeRoMaRinE. So really, it's like looking in a mirror right now. Getting some deja vu. Not really going to be able to do much more in the main base. They also don't really have to. I mean, they can sit here and threaten. The Vikings are on the way, so they can't do that forever. But they can unload elsewhere, even go back home, maybe try and get some type of surround going on. It's going to be a difficult bust without your own Ravens. No interference page to even try to get this started. He's going to grab 1 tank. Well, Spirit, well, even if he was paying attention, I'm not sure he would have been able to... I'm not sure he would have wanted to on Siege. You can't have it. You don't have anything else to target fire your tanks on. So nice, nicely done here. Nicely done. Just realizing that the forward tank was the one going to do the most damage. It's still in the Fierce Matrix. Thanks for Liberator, bruh. More Marines going out. I really love HeRoMaRiNE's choice here. Oh, but it's going to be ruins. First. I was gonna say, I love HeRoMaRiNE's choice, because here's the problem. For Spirit, he can't break that many tanks up a choke and up a ramp through a choke easily, even with Ravens. And HeRoMaRiNE is at that tank count where he can't leave them alone necessarily, but he can leave them mostly alone. So if he just picks up all of his Marines, Spirit can't really break him, but might still have trouble defending, because his own army is still committed on the front lines. So if those 4 medevacs didn't die there, it fully unloads. There's a chance that Spirit's reinforcements don't size up. And now, well, it's back to being quite hopeless. Quite hopeless. I mean, actually, I really expected HeRoMaRiNE to tap out after the 4 medevacs were killed. Before then, you could see why he wouldn't tap out. You could see the way that he could come back in this game. But the 4 medevacs being killed? Yeah. No. That is about a 60 supply lead. A little awkward, though. 50 supply. Hey, the rocks are broken down. It's the first time I saw that. Hey. They collapsed. I'm honestly not sure who caused them to collapse. Maybe HeRoMaRiNE is trying to get them stuck. Well, you know, theoretically, a person who's down 50 army supply should never win against a person who's up 50 army supply. Splash can make up for it. Oh, that auto turret was kind of nasty. Only 1 tank got distracted, though. What? I'm actually not surprised. That was a fine bust right there, or fine hold. It was both. It was a fine hold from HeRoMaRiNE, and it was a fine attempt at a bust for Spirit, because that wasn't all of his army. He had more reinforcements. He had more bodies to throw. That was fine. It wasn't actually shocking, but it was nice to hope. HeRoMaRiNE really loves the Roddy portrait. It's had that for years. Bottom left down a game, it is HeRoMaRiNE. Top right, we have Spirit. Spirit, continuing his win streak, man. Playing some mighty fine StarCraft. The double drop into the main wasn't too bad until HeRoMaRiNE's front line got broken. It wasn't the main drop that did a lot of damage, but it did force HeRoMaRiNE to perhaps pull back too many units and then not pay attention to the attempted break. I didn't catch it either, so I'm also at fault. I'm not sure exactly how close it was. We didn't actually look that close. So I'm guessing even if the one Raven was paid attention to, it wouldn't have mattered. A couple auto turrets, a couple interference matrix probably wouldn't have been the deal breaker. Instead, maybe HeRoMaRinE should have had both Ravens paid attention to on the front lines, and then let a decent number of Marines deal with the drop in the main. It caused a difficult choice, and HeRoMaRinE could have chosen perfectly and been okay. That wasn't a damning move from the get-go for Spirit. But it does make it tough, and it was too tough for HeRoMaRinE that particular time. Spirits was able to tie that up. Again, not exactly a super one-sided first game, I suppose, but kind of. Very unfortunate about those 4 medevacs. I think the 4 medevacs unload, there's a lot more to be said about that. I mean, HeRoMaRinE's first 2 medevacs counterattacking almost brought that game back, so... It could have gotten really, really feisty, and it just got simple again once the 4 medevacs were killed. So are we going to have another passive opener where they both don't really do a whole lot? So far, just factory expanding. And... difference being reactor versus second Reaper. Oh, let's look at the reactor, actually. Are we gonna get multiple Reapers, multiple Hellions? Yeah, we are. Yeah. Yep, HeRoMaRinE. Going up 5-3. Gonna try and pressure Spirit. Spirit's gonna go to 3-1, maybe? It should be 3-2. Yeah, it's usually 1 less Hellion. But let's see. Let's do the math here. 5-3 versus 3-2. What's a bigger number, guys? This one. It is going to be coming across the map, taking its sweet time. So Spirit probably has the Cyclone out in time to stop any catastrophic damage. It kind of all depends on the first movement. If Spirit doesn't pay attention to his forward army at all, and just lets it die. Doesn't even use the grenades. I mean, that's pretty bad. Assuming he doesn't play like us, and he does use his grenades, and he does pull back his army, and he does buy some time, it should be fine. There are extra Reapers on the way, by the way. I was not wrong about the 5. The extra 2 just aren't here. Trying to get the jump on the Spirits, as opposed to having the full arsenal quite ready. Kind of works out. Now the rest of the Reapers are here. One more Hellion's gonna die, but the Cyclone, Big Papa Cyclone, does make its appearance, and that doesn't really get HeRoMaRinE anywhere farther in this game. He has 2 Reapers, I guess, that can do a little bit of a backstab, maybe give him a 1 or 2 worker lead, but that's about it. Alright, not gonna go into any exchange of Cyclones. More Marines were available for Spirit anyways. Could have come forward and helped out. Raven went across the map to go for some harassment. Looks like HeRoMaRinE is totally prepared for this harassment. Okay, go a little bit farther. It kind of would suck, though, to have to use your own auto turret to defend against the opponent's auto turret. So yeah, you're just gonna hold on to it. And this would have been auto turret time if it was a medevac drop. But an auto turret's gonna disappear anyways. Kind of just take your punches, I guess. So 4 SCVs go down for HeRoMaRinE. Spirit actually gets ahead by a couple. 3rd CC's on the way. It's quite close in time. Quite similar. And once again, 3 Ravens for Spirit, 2 for HeRoMaRinE. I mean, I know Spirit did really well in the last game. And I do believe his extra Raven helped him. bust the forward position that HeRoMaRinE is trying to hold while he paid attention to the main drop. But just in general, like I'm not trying to be super influenced by that last game. It does make sense to just go 3 Ravens, doesn't it? And HeRoMaRinE is adding on that 3rd Raven now. But with the cost and time change, isn't it just better to go multiple Ravens? That's what I was fearing, is that you would just build more Ravens. And 3 Ravens is not at all unique or surprising. We've had plenty of 3 Ravens for the builds. But I feel like if you ever, you know, we're on the 2 versus 3, now it should just be 3-3 every single time. Both players should get 3. It does change the build order slightly and all that good stuff, but I mean, Ravens are pretty freaking good. Some Vikings come out for Spirit, so this is a change up from last game, besides the little Reaper push. Vikings are here already for Spirit, so that's a bit annoying for HeRoMaRinE. Or has to be careful. He still has a bit of burst potential if he gets all of his auto turrets down first. But since their armies are so similar, yet one person has the air, I mean, I'm actually kind of surprised HeRoMaRinE's... I guess there's no downside. There's no downside what HeRoMaRinE's doing, so that's fair, it's fair. He's just denying the 3rd CC as long as possible, and Spirit is going to take the other 3rd CC location. So, fair enough. But it's not like he was going to get more from that. Even though he's also producing his own Vikings. They're a little bit later, and they're coming from across field, right? Both players are going into bio, as we did have some experimenting with mech recently. I just want to clarify that. We might still further see some mech play as the new patch kind of gets figured out even more so, but I'm feeling no. I'm feeling like mech isn't going to make a comeback, but you always gotta check. And now things have turned a little bit relaxed. Things are just taking a chill pill. So what are the differences? Upgrades, fairly similar. Spirit is ahead. I'm keeping ahead with the armory already on the way. Viking count's better for Spirit. Barracks count is better for Spirit. He has had slightly better economy at times. HeRoMaRinE has way more tanks. Okay. 7 tanks to 3. I was like, why does Spirit have all these things ahead? What does HeRoMaRinE have? Nothing's happened in that game. Nothing humongous has happened in this game. The tank count is a big difference. So Spirit must have sacrificed the tank production to get those initial Vikings out faster. That makes sense. Then we have our tinier center tower. I guess it would have been out some more like here. If it was the old center tower. And we might be able to see what Ravens look like when it's Mass Raven versus Mass Raven. I haven't seen a TvT like that yet in the new patch. And how that affects mass auto turret battles. Yet again, punishing basically the same area. Double drop into the main. HeRoMaRinE is going to handle this. But again, that forward push is the real problem. This time I actually get to see what it looks like, and HeRoMaRinE is just not prepared for it. One tank that was all by its lonesome, basically, as the other 4 tanks had to run backwards to try and get a better position to defend. Command center killed, not canceled. And Spirit is going to be stopped there, but 6 SCVs go down, handful of Marines go down, and now the SCVs are going to be pulled in here. HeRoMaRinE wants to nip this in the bud, also get a decent counterattack if he can, which I believe he will. The SCV pull, the tanks, the Marines, the Vikings, like all of that combined together with that type of concave to really take quite a good fight. And then you can immediately counterattack as well and hopefully get something in return. But Spirit actually already has a good enough army. It's mostly Marines. Oof. And that was a decent shot there from HeRoMaRinE's tanks. So if they're locked in somewhere where they can't maneuver, then it's problematic. But if they're going to jump on HeRoMaRinE's tanks every time they unsiege, then it's fine. And that seems to be what's happening. Even Cyclone getting some additional damage done this late into the game is helpful. Spirit's worst quality is his lack of tanks. He has 1 tank to 7. So he really needs these Marines to be jumping whenever possible on HeRoMaRinE. It's going to be a decent concave. The Vikings aren't as impressive when they're not up against mostly, if not all, tanks like they were previously. And they do sacrifice their lives, I suppose, for the potential greater good. 2-2 is about to finish up for Spirits. That's going to be very helpful, and it absolutely will. He's got more room to back away from, at least a little bit. Yes. Because even if he backed away over here, that would still be... Well, if he backed away over here, that'd still be a decent concave. But he can't get pushed back into his own natural, because then, you know, he'd be running through his own natural choke. His fourth could be under fire. His third could be under fire. That's going to be the problem. SCVs are pulled now for Spirit. Oh, SCV pool number 2. Not the best SCV pool that I've ever seen, however. They kind of single-filed into a single choke. Liberator does get taken down. A couple tanks got taken down, but Spirit just sacrificed 22 SCVs for it and still has not broken HeRoMaRinE. There's a bit of a GG scan going on right there. If the fourth base was down on location, Spirit might have tapped out, but seeing as it has not been replaced yet, only just now being remade, he's going to stick in. He's going to be hopeful, which I think he has reason to be. The tank count was cold. It's not as bad as it was, and also recognizing that perhaps his own Liberators could be helpful. Has gotten those, but it's already lost some pretty important positioning at third CC under fire. He's going to try and get from behind as the tanks are a little vulnerable, but the SCVs are going to get slaughtered. The command center could also go down. Spirit is going to mop up the rest of the tanks, take on the reinforcing Marines as well, thanks to his upgrades still being better until this very second, but does lose the third CC. Oh my god, as the SCVs were not repairing. The SCVs are not repairing. He chose his order of operations perhaps a little poorly. Maybe he could have lifted the CC and at least had it, you know, default AI move away when being attacked, and then focus on taking the initiation. But it didn't. So lose that third CC. Bit of tit for tat, isn't it? Medevacs do get cleared out, and now HeRoMaRiNE's army on Spirit's side of the map is completely gone. So Spirit can breathe a little bit of a sigh of relief and maybe try and get some aggression going again. It's kind of a weird situation where you don't really want to ever say, okay, losing an orbital is not a big deal. You want your mules, especially because you haven't replaced those SCVs. You want your scans as you try and size up engagements. But the planetary being what's left alive does mean that you don't have to worry about it, basically. So a 16 Marine drop can kill a lot of shit, but it can't kill a planetary. So it still sucks. The main base is vulnerable. No missile turrets are there, and it's a long ways back. But looks like Spirit is gonna 1-up HeRoMaRinE. He's gonna 3-up or 4-up HeRoMaRinE. 6 medevacs now heading into HeRoMaRiNE's main base, and it's TvT, baby. It's TvT, man. Doom drops, and more Doom drops into that main base. The tanks are not in a particularly abusive position, but it doesn't really matter. The point is they're on top of the production. So by abusive, I meant they weren't on top of the ramp, but being on top of production like this, HeRoMaRinE and SimCity still working against them. It's a beautiful thing for Spirit, who is immediately going to gain an advantage again. After losing it to the HeRoMaRiNE slow push across the map, Spirit is once again in the winning position. But if you're going to drop, do a bigger drop, and then do a bigger drop. It's like all inning. Do a bigger drop and then a bigger drop. So now HeRoMaRiNE's on 3 medevacs heading into the main base. Those missile turrets did nothing to stop it. And HeRoMaRiNE is also going to lose access to his 4th base. Nice Liberator tank combination is going to clean that base up. No way to save it. And HeRoMaRiNE even gets sent away from the main base of Spirit, as he had left, I think, a sizable amount of reinforcements back home. It looks like Spirit has guessed correctly on how the sequence of events would go in this particular game, well, the last 2 minutes specifically, and is using that to win the game, figuring that it would come down to a couple of drops, defending his own main base while hammering HeRoMaRiNE's base. Did come down kind of to who had the bigger drop. It's not the size of the drop, it's how you use it. Well, I feel like it might have been the size of the drop there. Now in his last life on Dragon Scales, it is HeRoMaRiNE. The bottom right, it is Spirit. Hopefully Spirit has just ascended. This isn't him peaking and then falling off before Katowice. Hopefully he is This is his baseline now. That would be awesome. I'd be very impressed with that. You could still say, of course, that Raynor and HeRoMaRinE aren't playing up to their full potential, and this is just kind of looking really imbalanced because of that. One person is playing at 100%, other people are playing 80%. It's going to look much worse than it normally would. But I don't know, man. I think that Spirit is just playing really well. The TvZ is one that really convinced me that he's playing super well, that game 1 macro game. The TvTs have occasionally been a little TvT, so I feel like they can easily tip the other way. Tip, you know, HeRoMaRiNE's favor. Like the base trades of last game. I mean, that shit is just... Yes, I do believe that Spirit kind of anticipated a bit better. But then there's a lot of other things in that game that might have put him in a better position to handle it. Even the way his SimCity was lined out could have been a factor. But whether he had extra couple hundred minerals to try and even get the missile turrets, which didn't affect things, but still, and then HeRoMaRiNE could have been a big difference. I don't know. It's TvT, it's mass doom drops. I mean, it feels like that wasn't so much a masterfully designed painting as much as it was, you know, like a Pollock or something where you just threw paint at the wall, and then occasionally people say that's good and other people say that's bad, you know, like, okay, I guess it's art. I guess Spirit won by skill. So that's the only kind of like asterisk I have right now, is that I think that Spirit is playing his best StarCraft, but is it necessarily like dominating HeRoMaRiNE? Like, actually, if he 3-0s right now, would I call that like utter domination? I don't necessarily think so. But I'm happy if you guys disagree. If you're like, Spirit is absolutely dominating, he's just so much better than HeRoMaRiNE right now, you're talking loony. Like, okay. Another kind of passive opener. It's this time HeRoMaRiNE. No, once again, it is HeRoMaRiNE going for the multiple Reapers and Hellion. Dragon Scales, I think, is a fairly short map. Not definitely one of the shortest, right? Babylon's shorter. But I can see I'd be very direct through the map. No, anyways, HeRoMaRiNE didn't really have a lot of success last game with it. And this game, it's up a ramp. It's gonna go into a bunker. I mean, that just doesn't seem like it's gonna go very well for HeRoMaRiNE. Not that it just kills you if it doesn't work. Three Reapers, sorry, 2 Hellions, so not as invested as that last game. Right into a tank, however, so it's gonna be medevac. Yeah, so medevac tank. Okay, he's gonna try and catch Spirit under defending someplace. Could very well happen. This is definitely gonna change up the first 5 minutes of the game, which I think HeRoMaRiNE does need to do. It's more so his duty as the person down in the series to try and find a new hole in the defense. Headed straight towards the natural, right up on that bunker. Which isn't necessarily a good thing. Doesn't know there's a bunker. A lot of Terrans skip the bunker. This could already ruin HeRoMaRiNE's plans to a certain degree. So he's definitely got the siege first. There's not going to be any aha gotcha on top of like a cyclone that's there. Why would it be? Just an example. Or a handful of Marines. But the sieging up is still going to do some damage. There's just no snowball effect. Spirit goes, oh, okay, that's what you're doing. Buys time, eventually lets the bunker fall, and then breaks out with a couple of Ravens. Okay, one more. I love his squad of SCVs. He's letting them take tank shots, one apiece. It's actually really cool. I wonder if he could have let that bunker go at that point, but yeah, he uses an interference matrix, but doesn't actually bust out. So I am starting to get a little concerned. All right, his tank's finally here. Salvage is gonna happen, or is it? It did not, but okay. Point is, he was willing to lose that bunker at some point. That wasn't his lifeline. And then we even have HeRoMaRinE messing up a little bit. Tank in position, and then HeRoMaRinE's tank's first shot was on an auto turret. That's not what you want. Wasn't on his opponent's tank, wasn't on his opponent's Marines, and now Spirit has successfully defended. HeRoMaRinE's going to be a bit more on the run, considering he has a few less units, but the Raven of Spirit is awfully close to death. Actually, it's the healthy one that dies, and the low one that dies. Oh, and we have a Raven re-Raven battle on the opposite side of the plateau, in which case Spirit's Raven did technically win. That's because Spirit made one more Raven, right? So, overall, the trade here, I mean, it hurts both of them. And it hurts Spirit just a little bit more. He didn't lose his tank. So that's what's made up a little bit. Fun game. Fun game. They both come out of this in really even scenarios. This would typically be where, if you weren't professional gamers, there'd be more of a question of, okay, who macroed better behind this? But they both macroed pretty well. So HeRoMaRinE's third CC is a little bit later. He's grabbing 4 barracks at a time at once, as opposed to Spirit, who did slip in 2 barracks and then 2 more. So he's going to have slightly faster production. Engineering bays are built first for Spirit, but then he didn't actually get his upgrades. He's low on gas. So that might due to pulling off the SCVs from the natural so often. Or the third Raven, of course, costs gas as well. Ooh, Raven is awfully low at this point. Spirit has not started his +1 armor. He did not have enough gas to start it with his +1 weapons, but he does remember, so it'll be a bit lopsided, but better than nothing. Both of them so close in this game. Really so close. It's gonna come down to perhaps those upgrades. Because even their production really times out really close to each other. Spirit decides to stay on Viking production from his starport, whereas HeRoMaRinE's going to go for some medevacs. It's going to change the way their units interact. Medevacs drop heavy, and they're going for exactly that drop. Yep, this is a good idea the last 2 games. Let's keep doing that. And then the Viking is going to be more about posturing, positioning, and all that good stuff. So Spirit, you know, if he thinks, okay, I'm going to go across the map and catch him while he's still at home and then just lock him in there with Tank Viking, he would be backstabbed. And then he'd have to awkwardly come home and then maybe clean it up, maybe not. Who knows? Good thing is Supply Depot scouts this as the Vikings were not in position, but now they could easily know to at least try to be in position. Yeah, the scanner feels Vikings already headed that direction. But now the Vikings might not be on the front lines. I like that Spirit just uses rallying Vikings to guard against that double medevac drop. That's nice. You still want them on the front line, still part of that army. 1 Raven apiece. That's a decent number of tanks from HeRoMaRinE yet again in this game. 6 to 5. He does not have that air control, though. And we're still very tech heavy. It's still very much about tanks, so the Marine upgrades aren't really problematic here. In fact, Spirit's combat shields are faster, so that kind of makes up for the +1 armor deficit. Yeah, this is kind of a good concave map, but that's still a choke. Spirit still was paying attention, and Spirit's even trying to get some return damage. Saw a little bit of dancing going around with those Marines. He wanted to see if he could grab some of the tanks, as HeRoMaRinE did his own dancing back and forth. Didn't quite work out that way. Both of them hold on to their Ravens. Both of them hold on to their tank counts. But again, Spirit with the Vikings would, if he wanted to play an extended battle, would eventually win out. Eventually, Spirit could siege hop forward, and HeRoMaRinE would have to burn scans over and over and again, which is possible, just not ideal. So backing away, repositioning. This plan here for HeRoMaRinE. Once again, Spirit covering his blind side. Supply depot to the right side. Might want on the bottom left. The third base is kind of far from the natural on this map, so HeRoMaRinE maybe was hoping that the tanks had re-sieged to abuse this choke more. And that's, I guess, a neat thing about this map, is that you can't... You do... Well, neat for some people, terrible for others, I suppose. You do have to really know where your opponent's coming in from. you can't just siege your tanks here and then cover both your natural as well as that third choke. So if you really wanted to abuse this choke, you'd have to put your tanks really far forward, and then they wouldn't have been here for this. So Spirit was reading that direction properly. He does have a Sensor Tower occasionally seeing, and he did also, of course, have this double medevac drop set up to go into that main base. Of course he did. 12 SUVs go down immediately. That tank might fall once Spirit pays attention, but Spirit is trying to handle his 4th command center currently, of which he does so very, very well. Really a perfect split of Marines right there. And the Marines in the main base, if you're a Marine, did take out that tank, can take out the orbital command and the Cyclone, and this is just not HeRoMaRiNE's day. It's Spirit's day, man. Spirit's weekly. I'm gonna say it actually. I wasn't convinced before this game. I'm gonna say it now. Spirit dominated this Open Cup. Holy shit. Everything he touched turned to gold. Well done, Spirit. Very well done. GG's. GG's. Thanks for watching, everyone. Hope you enjoyed the broadcast. Tomorrow I'll be playing StarCraft 2, and it'll be with the new patch, the new maps. Tomorrow...